All right, so let's say you want to do a block letter. If you think about a block letter, like I'm going to do a letter F. Okay, so here would be a letter F facing you. Break it down. Think about the vertical part of the F being one cube with these other two cubes coming off of it. The other thing you have to think about is when you're drawing in 2-point perspective, you're not going to see this F from this angle. You're going to see it like it was going back into space. So like you're going to end up seeing the face of it that's here as well as this. When you're working in letters, you just sort of have to piece them together, and if you make a mistake, just kind of go back. Just be willing to make mistakes and go back and fix them. All right, so for a letter F, I'm going to start off, and my letter F is going to cross over my horizon line. I'm going to start off with a fairly, I'm going to pull it over here, a fairly long vertical line. This is going to be the part of my F where it's going to go back into space towards this vanishing point, and it's also going to be going back into space towards this vanishing point. So because I know that, I can go ahead and I can start connecting my vanishing points with my top and my bottom of my letter F. Okay, so I'm going to get that done before I move on. Now, a letter F, I'm going to just redraw one down here. I need to start off by establishing this vertical part. This line is part of that. I'm also going to add another vertical line here. This is the other part of that. So if this F was facing away, I'm drawing the face of it that would be like right here, and then these parts of my letter F are going to come off this direction. So I'm going to go ahead and finish this part of my F by adding another vertical line on this side. Now I want to keep this vertical line fairly light for now because it's going to end up changing. I'm not going to see all of it in the end because I need to add my letter F over here. All right, so to do that, I already have what the top of my letter F is, which is this line here. I need to get the bottom part of this. So I'm going to connect with my vanishing point, and I'm going to add this line right here. Okay, so then if I were to erase this little section that I added, you can hopefully start to see where my letter F is going to start forming in this space. And I'm going to do the same thing for this section of my F as well. I'm going to add 2 more vanishing lines back into space, and I'm going to erase away this. So you can start to see a letter F that's stretching really far back into space. Now I don't want it to stretch that far into space, so I need to end it. I'm going to add 2 vertical lines, and for the sake of this, I'm just going to have them end at the same place rather than having that middle one be shorter. All right, so I'm going to connect this, and I'm going to connect this. Now at this point, if I wanted to, if all these extra lines are bothering me, I can erase away these extra vanishing lines because I have what I need. I've got my letter F, but I need the rest of my letter F. So I need, because of the perspective of this, these 2 are above my horizon line, so I would also see the bottom of them. Okay, so I need to figure out where exactly that's going to be. To do this, I'm going to connect the bottom of both of these points to my vanishing point on this side. I don't need to go all the way because I know it's not going to go that far. So I'm just going to do short little vanishing lines that end, you know, just right there, just to start to establish how deep this thing goes. Now, I got to figure out how deep into space these things go, and that's determined by this over here. So what I can actually do is I can connect the bottom and the top to this vanishing point over here, just real lightly. So I'm thinking back to that transparent cube right now. Okay, and this point and this point I would connect to this vanishing point. Again, I'm thinking back to that transparent cube, so I'm very lightly, I'm not going to keep it like this. This is just giving me the information I need. I'm connecting this to my vanishing point on this side so I can find out where the back of my letter F is. So this crossover and this crossover are the back of my letter F, and I just need to connect them very lightly with the back of my cube so that I can start to figure out where this other part of my letter F ends. All right, so to figure out where this needs to end, because right now it's just sort of floating there, it doesn't have an end point, I'm gonna just lightly figure out if this were a transparent cube, like how would it relate to this face that we can't see. So I'm just going to lightly connect this over here, and I'm not even going to go all the way because I don't need to go all the way towards this vanishing point. Okay, now what that gives me, because I already have this line back here that's just giving me some information where those two places cross over each other right here, that tells me where this is ending in space. And once I know that, I can connect that point to my vanishing point on this side. Whoops, hang on. Okay, and that tells me where the bottom face of this letter F is. All this inside information will end up getting erased. Okay, but now I've got my letter F, and then it has the bottom face of this portion of my F, because I would be able to see that. I'm going to do the same thing over here. I'm going to connect this line right here that I have that's establishing my F to my vanishing point. Okay, wherever it crosses over that transparent line that I established back here in the back, that just gives me the information I need to finish off the bottom face of my letter to connect over to this vanishing point. Again, this one's going to be very shallow because it's super close to that horizon line. Okay, and all that inside information can then be erased. So I bolded my letter F, but I also kept in here, which you don't have to, but I just did this with a different color just for you to be able to see just where everything's connecting. You really do with letters have to be willing to make mistakes on them and just sort of figure it out. They can be frustrating, but I think once you get the principles of how cubes work together, you can start to piece together these letters and get them figured out to where you can draw them fairly fluidly.